Hi, this is Di, the bass playing mom, and last Sunday when I was playing, my bass started cutting in and out. I was jiggling the cord, I was messing with the jack, nothing was really working, and then I bypassed my pedal board and everything started working. So today I'm gonna rip my pedal board apart and remount everything and make sure I don't have any jiggly loose cords and that it will work for Sunday. So I've decided I'm going to test the bass first because it's going to be easier one to troubleshoot than the pedal board. It's only got a few connections. And look what I found. That can't be good. I don't think it's supposed to be like that. I better find a Phillips head screwdriver.
Did you learn things about light and dark?
Sometimes these connections go bad, so that's what I'm trying to look at to see if it had screwed. It'll sometimes unscrew and start going around and around inside, and the connections will be real bad, but these don't look bad to me. That solder looks solid to me. So all I need to do now is just put this back together, I think. So I was able to hold this still while I tightened it, so it won't be all loosey-goosey anymore. So I fixed this up, I got it back together. I'm gonna test it here, see if it cuts in and out at all. Seems solid to me. Now, I thought maybe when this wiggled around it was coming unplugged, but if I held still it would be better, but I don't see any difference. Alright, so here's my pedal board as it stands today. I have my noise suppressor, my compression sustain. These are my ear tips. This is my power supply, my overdrive, which has not been Velcroed to the board yet, my big Muff, and my Polytune. And then underneath here, but right there is my DI. But obviously something is horribly loose and awry because it was cutting in and out. So I think it's time to just, oh, that's candle wax from Christmas service. Anyway, I think it's time to rip it apart. So that's what's going to happen now. So Pedaltrain has something called Pedalboard Planner, where you can go and lay out your pedals on a imaginary board to practice where you're going to put things and see if it all fits. But I'm having a little trouble because my DI and my overdrive pedal aren't in their system. Here's what I've got ripped apart. Here's the board. There are my pedals and cords. Alright, I did some rearranging. I want to show you what I did and what my thoughts were. Okay, my thoughts were to put the pedals I use the most on the front row because they're the easiest to hit with my foot. And so my balance isn't too good, so that'll be easy to get. So that everybody said start with your tuner. So I put my tuner first. And that should be really easy to hit, especially because I use it as a mute. So that'll be great. Then my tuner, then the noise suppression, because you want that before all of the other effects. Noise suppression, then compression comes next as far as I can tell. Overdrive, and then to my fuzz, and then to the DI and out. So I put the out over here so it'll be easiest to plug in. At least my mindset is it'll be easier to plug in. And the pedal power has the plug out the back. This is my in-ears and my in-ear tips. And so I think things are going to fit. Now what I'm going to do is start trying different chords to see if I can make it all work. This one is particularly fussy, so I have to make sure I get this wired up right. I have two kinds of patch cables. I have these little ones like this, these thin ones, and then I have wider ones like this. So I'm going to try to use the wider ones whenever I can because they're more durable, but then I'll use these when it won't fit. I bought a pack of these, the ones that go directly out of the pedal into the next pedal, but I think I'm going to return them because everybody said it actually damages the pedal, right? Things in your case are going to shift around, and so if it shifts and you have this hard thing in between, it can break the inside of the pedal. So I'm going to send those back and then use these because those flex and everything needs to be able to flex. All right, I'm just working on the cables. I'm not working on the power supply yet, but I think I've got it. This is the tuner first. The tuner goes to input on the suppressor, to output on the suppressor. Input on the compression, output on compression. In on the overdrive, out. In on the fuzz, out. But then that goes around back to the return on the suppressor. And then that sends the signal to the DI. Okay, now I routed all of the cords under the board. And I discovered that this was hanging off, and I'm going to try to keep everything within the parameters of the board so that when it goes in the case it doesn't jiggle those things and knock them off. So I moved all this stuff over a little tighter. This I'll have to see if it's too tight, so working on it. Next is tightening up these cables underneath and routing them underneath. So I'm going to turn the board over. Each one to pedal power. That's what I'm doing next. Pedal power. I have unplugged from send. I plugged my cable in there, and we're going to see if this thing is ready to fire up. Here are all my power supplies. We'll see. I had to run these on the front. They weren't quite long enough. Okay. Tuner's working. That sounds better. Okay, let's try it with the overdrive. Something's wrong. Dang it. Alright, this is a cautionary tale. I had this thing so goofed up that I had to walk away from it and go eat a snack. And I've had chocolate now, and I'm back, and I got it working. So here is the lesson from me. 1, it goes input, send, all the way around, then return, output. It's an X. Input to send, return to output. Anyway, I had those reversed so it wouldn't work. So make sure you do an X if you're using the noise suppressor. Input to send, return to output. And then I had accidentally hit the check mute. When I tried it again, it wouldn't work. I had bricked it. And this is it. Look. That. You do not make noise when you're muted. So, now that that light is off, it will work. So learn from my school of hard knocks. Do not do that. We're trying it with the overdrive on. We're in my amp that needs to be fixed. Overdrive off. So I think I have the volume up too high on the overdrive. Probably more like that. Even lower. That's at 11 o'clock. And then my fuzz. Yay! We're back in business. Oh, huh? Compression off. Compression on. So you want the check light. It makes my signal a lot louder. It's funny how things don't operate in the OFF position. All right, so let's do a rundown. What I've got on my pedal board right now. The Polytune tuner. Then we go into input on my noise suppressor, and then we do send. From send to input on my compression sustain. From output to input on the vintage overdrive. From output to input on my fuzz pedal. Then output goes all the way back to return on the suppressor, which also acts as a gate. Then I go to output, and there's the output going to my bass. When I am playing at church, this will be plugged in to that spot, and it'll go out through my DI. These are my ears, these are the tips. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 9-volt jacks. So I did have to, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pedals. So I did daisy chain 1. I have a clone that I'd really like to add to this, but I am concerned with daisy chaining another one and whether that's a good decision or not. So I did not add the clone this time. If I want to use it, I'll probably just sub it in for the overdrive. In the comments down below, let me know if you have a pedal board. Let me know what kind of maintenance you have to do on it. How often do you need to rip it apart and start over? Do you keep the same pedals? Do you change the pedals? Do you have a power supply? Do you have a DI? I'd love to hear all of it. That would be awesome. You message me on Instagram on RealBeal2111 and send me a picture of your gear or a link. I would love to see it. It's a pedalboard flyover.